Hello and welcome back to Football Manager, not with Newcastle United, but in the Newcastle United save. We have gone forward an entire season. I wanted to come back just after a new manager was appointed, and then I accidentally overwrote the save by going on holiday for the rest of it. So yes, we are back at the end of our first season, not in charge of Newcastle United. So let's go and see how well the new manager did. First of all, let's go and see how well Newcastle did and see who that new manager actually is. Newcastle, they are third. And it's Jurgen Klopp. Okay, Newcastle have appointed Jurgen Klopp as their manager. They did not retain the championship. They finished third place in the table. Let's have a quick look. How close were they? They were a long, long way behind Manchester City. City finished on 93 points. I mean, we weren't close to that. Oh, we were close to that. We got 91 last season. So it's a pretty drastic drop in terms of performance. 10 defeats against arguably teams you'd expect to lose to. Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, Man City and Chelsea once again. So you'd expect to lose those games. But yeah, that's clearly the problem there. Although they did beat Manchester City. So taking a quick look at the league stats then. So like I said, everything has been played. Don't have a top goal scorer, at least not in the top 3 or a highest average rating. But Christ Chole is up there with 13 assists for the season. So he has not left the club. He is content with his time at the club. He's still absolutely ridiculous. 182 appearances now, 21 goals to his name. 13 assists in one season is actually probably his best season. I mean, in terms of ratings, it's his worst season. But in terms of actual achievements, I guess, that's probably his best season. No one also in the player of the match, clean sheets or yellow cards. Right, let's go take a look then at Newcastle United. And I can already see there are 3 names still on that list and a new player who I think might have just come through the youth team. So let's ignore him. I want to take a look at the transfers, particularly paying interest to the transfers out of the club. So, Zelaya leaving for £41.5 million. That kind of makes sense because obviously they had Flo and Andre, 2 very, very good central defenders. So, yeah, Zelaya moving on. Lopez Bays also moving on for just under £35 million to Leeds. Munoz also moving back to Barcelona. That's a weird one. Well, is it? We bought him for 20 million and then sold him for 32.5. So, we made a decent bit of profit there. Walter Valiente moving to Napoli for £21 million. That's a big bit of money for a player who didn't play a lot. Fite Arp also moving on, didn't play a huge amount last season, or the season that we won the league in anyway. Gregory Banau also leaving, same with Joe Willock. Greg Huddle, I knew that one was going to happen. I could see that happening. He's now gone and signed for Aston Villa in the Championship, and he's worth £23.5 million. He did win the Championship, of course he did. Few other players leaving as well. Damien Potter leaving for Fulham, Yankov to Ipswich, Jordan Ormerod to Besiktas for £5 million. That's a weird one. I'm not going to lie, that's a weird one. 7 goals and 24 appearances for Besiktas. Joining the club then, let's take a look in order of expense. £93 million for Ellington Antonio, who was a left winger. He played 8 times. 8 games he played. Although it looks like they did sign him in January, which makes a bit more sense because he played 24 games all season, scoring 9, only 8 for Newcastle. But still, I don't know whether they really needed him. He's 6'6". He's absolutely massive. They also did the bit of transfer business that I wanted to do, but Chelsea wanted too much money for him. £62 million for Steve Finn in the end. We were looking at about 140 when we were trying to buy him. So he's finally made that jump. I think that's a good signing. That's actually a very good signing. Simon Goyshard signing from Sheffield United for just under £50 million. That's a player that they don't really need, isn't it? He's a right winger. You've got Edson. You don't need him. And you've got Jabari Stanford. I mean, he's good. He's very good at football. But did you really need to buy him? I don't think you did. They've also made the transfer of Robert Coleman permanent. That was somewhat unexpected. We had him on loan. Then they signed him for £27 million, which is far, far too much money. And then he played 24 league games, most of them off the bench. It looks like they've actually raided Chelsea because they've gone and signed Ryan Sessegnon as well in the summer, £24 million. Sessegnon was one of those players that I was looking at, but I didn't think he was good enough. And I think he probably isn't good enough, is he, looking at his ability? Frankie de Jong also signing from Liverpool for £17 million. He's 33. I mean, I would never do that transfer for a 33-year-old. That is a lot of money. but he's still really, really good, isn't he? He's very, very good, but it's a huge amount of money to spend. Final big name signing then is Andres Dings Dag. Good name. He's not good. He's not great, is he? How much they spend? £10.5 million. I mean, he's quite clearly someone for the future. This man, by the way, I agreed this transfer. He's not very good. He's all right, but we have a deal with Riga, so I thought I'd actually make use of it. And they signed Harvey Collins as well, who is quite clearly a sub-goalkeeper. Fair enough. Right, let's take a look then at how well they did in some of their fixtures. Can we have the goal scorers one? That's the one we're after. So, did they win? They won the Community Shield, which is good news. Beating Huddersfield, just about a 90th minute Charles Cesar goal, fair enough. Champions League Group F then had Real Madrid, Dortmund and AZ Alkmaar. Did they go through that group? I feel like they possibly didn't. They did. They got through, and then I think they got knocked out against Bayern, didn't they? They won 2-1 away and drew 2-2. They got through past Bayern as well, and then they get knocked out. They went past Barcelona as well. They beat Bayern Munich and Barcelona, and then a 1-1 draw and a 3-2 defeat. So they get knocked out in the Champions League semi-final by Manchester United. That kind of sucks. In the FA Cup, losing 2-0 to Man City in the quarterfinal. The Carabao Cup, I think, didn't go very far at all, did it? Third round against Bristol City. Yep, out at the first hurdle. So this is their first team squad. How many people have played some games? I mean, the number one player there, Marlon Charles, 52 appearances, and he's been playing as a left-back. He's been actually, can we see? We can't see. He's been playing as a left-back. He's now a natural left-back, which he never was a natural left-back. He was a natural wing-back after I trained him there for 16 years. He's just absolutely filth. He's still wanted. Liverpool and Manchester City want him now. 11 goals, 5 assists and 36 appearances in the league. 12 Champions League appearances as well. 3 goals and 2 assists to his name. He is superb. He's only 24. He's only 24 years old. Andre as well, getting just under 50 appearances, 2 goals as well to his name. Let's have a quick look at Andre. I mean, we know he's good. He's 22. We're getting younger. We had a look at him earlier. Christ Cheole, next up, 33 appearances in the league, 4 goals with 13 assists, a decent run in the Champions League as well. I don't understand how he's still at the club, but I'm quite happy that he is. He's amazing. He's probably one of our best players. And I say that without a hint of irony. He's definitely one of our best players, isn't he? Bill Melbourne went from being relegated with Swansea to winning the Premier League just 12 months later. He managed to get 28 starts in the league, 69 appearances overall now for Newcastle with 8 goals to his name. He's real good, still 21 years of age. The team's still filled with children. Club captain Carlos Restrepo, who is still here, which I'm quite surprised with. He's out for a slight injury, although I imagine that's a fairly lengthy injury. He's played 30 appearances, got a decent rating, 3 assists to his name, no goals this season, but he's good. I think he's one of those players that when we signed him, he didn't look amazing, and he's just developed really well. The best goalkeeper in the game, in my opinion, Adonam, 28 years of age now, 29 caps for Brazil, 188 appearances for Newcastle, 173 concedes. Clean sheets just 7 this season. That's not great, is it? I only played 26 as well in the league. I assume he must have got injured. Flo is up next, 24 starts in the league, but he's currently out with damaged cruciate ligaments, so I imagine probably got injured about January time, maybe a bit earlier than that. So that's kind of a blow. I mean, he's amazing, but we only had him for 6 months. Another player that we only had for 6 months is Jabari Stanford, who managed to get 14 goals and 23 starts this season. That's pretty decent for a player who cost £136 million. Still, it's too much money, isn't it? It's definitely too much money, but he's a good player. One of the new boys, Simon Guichard, with 10 goals and 10 assists in 33 appearances in all competitions. Doesn't seem like a bad signing in terms of what he's provided, but I don't think they needed to do it. I'm not going to go down every player. You can see obviously some of the stats here. Delati with a current injury, but I think he's played the reasonable amount of the season. I nearly said of the football. 1 goal, 3 assists to his name. Johnny Santos still at the club as well. 2 goals and 3 assists. Frankie de Jong we've already had a look at. Cesar Girardini, the top goal scorer from last season, only gets 8 goals in 21 starts. I mean, he's not amazing. I mean, I always look at the shape. rather than the stats. The shape tells me whether he's a good footballer. The stats tell me whether he's definitely a good footballer. So 29 goals in all competitions for Newcastle in his entire career. 21 last season, just 6 this season in the Premier League. Wang has played 19 times. He's played 12 games in the Premier League. Adnan 100% got injured. Wang isn't a bad goalkeeper, is he? Wang is actually a decent enough goalkeeper. Probably not Premier League standard, but he's most definitely a sub-goalkeeper. Another player who didn't get a huge amount of football, which I would have expected he would, is Edson. Only 11 starts, 14 off the bench. Again, only 21 years of age, about to turn 22. So he's got plenty of time left in him. I would not be surprised if in a couple of seasons' time he gets sold for silly money and is playing for somebody like Barcelona. And the final one we'll take a look at then, Charles Cesar, who for some reason only played 4 starts, 9 off the bench. Arguably, looking at his shape, he's not great, is he? He's not great. Physically, he's absolutely ridiculous. But technically, he's alright. I think he just put in a shift for us, didn't he? Because when he played for us, the 2 seasons that we properly got out of him, a 7.43 average rating, he was absolutely superb the season where we won the league. I think we got more out of Charles Cesar than he realistically should have been giving. Let's have a quick look at the general. So, have we got any changes? Club legends, obviously I'm still there. Nobody has joined that list. Have we got anybody new on the icons list? Nope, still only Marlon Charles, and then favoured personnel is Cesar Girardini and Edson as well. Still haven't moved into Bobby Robson Park. That is actually just going to be in 1 month time when they move into Bobby Robson Park. So, next season, they're going to be in Bobby Robson Park. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to holiday 4 more years, which means we're going to holiday 5 years in total. I'm just going to come back at the end of 4 years and see what have happened to Newcastle United. I have no idea how long this video is. I have no idea how long it's going to be because essentially we're halfway through right now. So I'm going to go on holiday for 4 more years. We will return on the 20th of May, 2034, I guess. We are back, but not quite on the 20th of May. We're on the 21st of May, 2034. So 4 more years have passed. How has Jurgen Klopp done as the Newcastle manager? So immediately what I can see is Newcastle have been champions 2 more times, haven't they? So after the first season, they did finish 3rd place, but then first, and then 2nd place. Have we technically finished this season? I think we haven't, have we? So yeah, we are 3rd at the moment. The season is over, so they have finished in 3rd place in the table as well. So looking at the squad then, let's sort it by positions. It seems like they might have a new number 1 goalkeeper, potentially. The 29-year-old Spaniard called Steve, he's from the internet apparently. He's good. He's certainly no Adnan, is he? Adnan is still here. He is now 32 years of age. He's probably, if I was perfectly honest, if I was still in charge of Newcastle right now, I would be looking at selling him whilst he's still worth a huge amount of money. Johnny Santos is still there, although he has been loaned out. He's now 29. He's still very good, isn't he? He's still very good. Delati also still there. A player who we signed from Juventus, Bologna, Roma, someone. We signed him from somebody because he was out of favour. I think he's bloody good. Flo is also still at the club. He's getting on a bit as well, 28 years of age. But the club's 2nd record signing is he's still very, very, very good. I'm having a quick look down some of the names, and there is a distinct lack of Marlon Charles. A very distinct lack of Marlon Charles. Where is he? Where is he? Where is Marlon? He is at Real Madrid. Oh my word, he is ridiculous. He is absolutely ridiculous. He's got better, hasn't he? I'm sure he's got better. He's at Real Madrid. How much did they sign him for? £200 million. That's a lot. To be honest, that would have been what I would have sold him for. £200 million Marlon Charles went for, straight from the Newcastle youth system. They've still got Andre is still there. He's still looking pretty good. Only 26. Christ Chole, somehow, despite the fact that he's a mercenary, has spent so long, 10 years now at Newcastle. He is absolutely insane. For £12,000, £13,000, that is ridiculous money. That is such a stupid return. I mean, that's his worst season. He got 12 assists and 4 goals. That's his worst season in terms of average rating. There does seem to be a distinct lack of quite a few players, actually. Edson's still there as well. Is he any good still? He's reasonable. He's not amazing. technically he's amazing, mentally kind of lets him down, and I can't believe I'm saying that when quite a lot of his mental stats are sort of 13 to 14s and 15s. Jabari Stanford also still at the club, still not particularly superb. We definitely overpaid for him. He's now 30 years old, 45 caps for England, 21 goals as well. Still at the club though. Let's have a quick look at the club details then. So, no one new in the legends, apart from me. Obviously, I am a club legend. What else have we got going on? Icons. Anybody new? Flo is an icon. That's good. So is Marlon Charles, and then we can see favourite personnel. Edson, Stephen Finn, Jabari Stanford, Jurgen Klopp also up there. He's got a long way to go until he reaches my levels of legendary status. Delati Restrepo. Restrepo's still at the club. He is still at the club. He's one of those players that I think he has achieved way more than he had ever had any right to do. 239 appearances in 12 years now at Newcastle. He's good. And he's, again, like I said, he's not one of those players. He doesn't have particularly amazing stats, but he just does a good job. And I think he was an absolute steal, and I don't even know how much we paid for him. It couldn't have been a lot. 6 million, quite a lot. Jabari Dini as well is on that list. He's still at the club on loan at Southampton, scoring 6 goals in 23 appearances. By the looks of it, he's not reached anywhere near the standards of when we first won the league, but he's been steadily getting more appearances, more goals. Just having a quick look at the under-23s, just in case there's anyone that's accidentally managed to find their way into the under-23s. It doesn't look like it. So, before we have a look at the transfers, I want to have a quick look to see how well they have done in various competitions. Obviously, we know they've won the league. Let's have a quick look at that, actually. Let's have a quick look. Stages. So, let's go back. So, this is where we were. This is where we won the league, 91 points. That was the first season we've had a look at. They then won the league, just 2 draws in 38 appearances, 6 defeats, losing to Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Sheffield United, Watford and Spurs, winning the title comfortably by 10 points. Then the next season, winning it by another 8 points this time around, just 4 defeats, Liverpool, Everton, Arsenal and Everton. Then they were runners-up behind Liverpool, again, just 5 defeats. That is a harsh season, 87 points. What is that? 7 points behind champions Liverpool. And then this season, 79 points, 7 defeats this time round. What is that? 12 points behind champions Liverpool this time. So we're going to go through each competition that Newcastle should have been in the last 5 years. Carabao Cup, they did win it in 2030-2031, which I'm not quite sure when that was. If we go up, FA Cup, they have won it 3 times in a row, beating West Ham, Chelsea and Norwich 2031, 2032 and 2033. The Europa Cup 2, the one time that we won it, the final game in charge of Newcastle for us, so there is no I say progression. It's not progression, it's regression if we win that one again. The Europa League as well, so that was obviously us as well, so no regression getting into the Europa League. Have they won the Champions League? Euro Super Cup, which I guess this is kind of a spoiler, feel like we might have won the Champions League in 2032. So yes, 2031-2032, they beat Liverpool in the final after extra time and then lost in the final the next season against Manchester United. And are they in the final now? Oh, they're in the final right now. Okay, we might watch this match. Club World Cup Championship lost in the quarter-finals. Sky Bet Championship, we've seen all of these. So yes, they have won the Champions League and become runners-up. They might win a second Champions League as well. Right, let's take a look then at some of the transfers out, because I suspect it's going to be some big money moves. So we've already had a look at this transfer window. So this was the one previous to going on holiday for another 4 years. So what have they done? They've spent £210 million and then brought in 98 million. They spent 124 million on this man. 124 million. You didn't break my record. He's pretty good though. So they sold Robert Coleman to Watford. Simon Gaishard has also left after just 1 year for £64 million to Barcelona. The bad boy Bobby Mills also leaving for Watford and now apparently playing for VfB Stuttgart. What disappoints me about Bobby Mills? 0 England caps. I would have just loved him to get 1 England cap. That's all I wanted, just 1 England cap. That would have been great. He has had an absolutely cracking season in the Bundesliga this year. They've almost got relegated, but he's got a decent amount of goals, 14 in 34. Shindong Jun is the other player on that list who I did sign leaving for Bristol City. Right, moving forward, the next year then, this is not the year that Marlon Charles had left any big money signings in. Yes, they've broken my record. Alexis Morano, 29 years old. He's very, very good. He scored 37 goals and 87 appearances for Newcastle over 2-3 years, maybe, something like that. This is also the year where they signed Steve, the goalkeeper. So, who left the club? They sold Frenkie de Jong, Ryan Sessegnon, Eduardo Romero leaving for Leicester for just under £14 million. And then he's on his way to China for, we don't know. Can we find out how much? End of contract. Okay, he's going on a free. I mean, Romero's not bad. He can't finish, which I guess is kind of key for a striker. Lucas Schmidt also leaving the club, just £4.5 million. He's good. I think he's a lot better. He's like an old-fashioned central defender who can't header, but I think he's decent, right? Thiago Almada finally leaving the club, going to his native Argentina for a decent amount of money. Did he play a lot of football after I left? Some. 16 games, and then 7 games, and leaving for nearly £30 million. They got their money's worth out of him. Wang also finally leaving to get first team football. 30 years old now, signing for SIPG, which I'm not quite sure who that is. They are obviously a Chinese side. £14 million for a player who cost £69,000. Decent enough job. Spent a couple of years out on loan at Coventry, did alright. Played 13 games in the 29-30 season, which is their first season after we left the club. So I think Adonam got himself injured. But yeah, Wang is actually not a bad goalkeeper. Moving on to the next season then, and that's the big one there, you see it. The Marlon Charles transfer, £200 million. £200 million. He is absolutely ridiculous. Am I part of his favoured personnel? I feel like I should be. Of course I am. So is Jurgen Klopp, apparently, and Thiago Almada. I'm still disappointed that the Trinidad and Tobago manager didn't try and call him up, because he was waiting for an England call-up until he was about 22, and then all of a sudden he finally got that call-up, started scoring goals for fun. Nothing else particularly exciting in this transfer window. I guess Eric Horn, who was one of our youth players who I had some hopes for, spent a lot of time out on loan at various clubs, now playing in the Championship. I guess he's a Championship level player, isn't he? Although he is wanted by a number of sides and worth £20 million. And the final season then, Jabari Stanford, we know, leaving on loan for Southampton. Fernando Sales, or Sales. Who is he? Did I sign him? I feel like I didn't. I didn't sign him. Anyway, he's left and signed for Arsenal. Charles Cesar still at the club on loan at Wolves. He's, I think, similar to Restrepo. He was a player that overachieved massively, particularly in the season where we won the league. Probably not as good as he performed for the most part, but good job he's still playing football. I guess, yep, still in the Premier League as well. We've also got Johnny Santos going out on loan to Lyon in the final season, playing a bit of football, 3 goals in 14 appearances. Johnny Santos, one of those players that he was good. He was like a nice little find, I think. Have we got anything else we want to take a look at before we finish this up? Facilities. Bobby Robson Park is there. It is built. It is finished. They've been there for 4 years now. 67,500 capacity. Do we have anything else? Can we see records? Is that a thing? There we go. This will do. This looks nice and fancy. Modern day records then. So, anything that we have done that appears on this list? Most league goals? No, that's not us. That's not us. Highest gate receipts? £3 million from a Champions League match. Highest average attendance. Wickham in the lowest attendance in the Carabao Cup in 2020. So that's actually happened in game. It wasn't us, but it's happened in game. Highest transfer fee received. Marlon Charles. Highest total transfer spent. £395 million. Is that in one season? Because I feel like I've spent that alone. Some of the player stats then. Have we got anything? Jabari Stanford, most overall goals by a player in a season with 31. Marlon Charles, highest average rating. Marlon Charles, also youngest ever player playing in the Championship in 2021. Adonam with the most clean sheets. That was the season where we won the league, I think. 34 clean sheets. Flo, most man of the match awards just a few years later. Most matches won in a row, 15. Most matches without losing is 19. Feel like Klopp has done a better job than we have. It also looks like they might need to expand the stadium, because since moving into Bobby Robson Park, it looks like it's been pretty much sold out constantly. They need to expand it already. Right, what I'm going to do, because I have a feeling that this episode is going to be extremely long, I'm just going to holiday until after the Champions League final to see whether Newcastle can pick up their second ever Champions League. And then we will probably round off this video. So Newcastle did not pick up their second Champions League win because Adonam had an absolute shocker by the looks of it. Getting a 5.7, an injury after just 5 minutes as well didn't really help anybody. A goal from Javier Aguirre, Flo getting himself booked in injury time actually. It did go all the way through to extra time. So I guess they were a bit unlucky. 2 very late goals obviously for Barcelona giving them the victory. But at least they got to another Champions League final. One final thing that we're going to do before we finish this episode is we're going to have a quick look at me, at how well I've done and some of my attributes and whatnot. So, I'm known for basically signing young players, aren't I? Signed younger players for the first team, much younger, very young. Young players for the future, much younger and very young. Prefer not to sign players approaching the second half of their careers. That is very true. Don't want to sign players past their best. Also very true. And also don't want to sign old players, want to sign young players. That's kind of my motto. So job history then, this is obviously the main thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trophies. We won 6 trophies. Yes, one of them was the Championship in our first season. Yes, one of them was the Europa League 2, but I don't care. We actually went 3 years in a row picking up some form of trophy. Okay, European Super Cup, does that really count? I can't imagine it does, to be honest. Well, that is going to do it then for this video. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you did enjoy, do please remember to leave a like. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I'll be back next time with more Football Manager. I've just seen Jurgen Klopp is insecure. Hold on. Could we just... Is this possible? Is this a thing that we can do? Pierce wants Newcastle job. Newcastle legend. Okay, Pierce, who's currently unemployed, is considered an outsider? An outsider? I was immensely proud to work there. Come on. Okay, we're not ending yet. I want to see if I can get the Newcastle job and get Klopp sacked. I think Klopp's been sacked. In the wake of speculation linking him to the vacant managerial position at Newcastle. It's not vacant. It's definitely not vacant. I'm going to keep declaring my interest in the job until they get fed up of me. Newcastle fans laugh off Pierce's interest? Why you laugh? I'm a club legend. I am literally a club legend. If Bobby Robson was still about, and he applied for the job, you wouldn't be laughing then, would you? Klopp's name has disappeared off the insecure jobs list, so yeah, I think by me declaring my interest in the job, they went, yeah, you know what, we're better with Klopp. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please do leave a like if you have enjoyed. If you want to see more, and if you're new here, do hit the subscribe button as well, because there's plenty more Football Manager content to come. I will see you in the next video, whatever that may be. There is the Southport save currently going on, so if you want to go and watch that, please do. We're probably in Season 5, maybe, halfway through Season 4. So please, yeah, go check that one out. I will see you in the next video.